decide our fate. There's this little thing called neurolinguistic programming. And the basic idea behind it is that how we are speaking to ourselves and about ourselves is determining how we perceive the world around us and how we perceive ourselves, and ultimately determining our outcomes and where we get to go in life. And whenever you take a major risk and decide to do something different, the subtext of that risk taking is that you are capable. That is the underlying story. It's the underlying narrative. Now, when you jump off that cliff or you dive into that river, or you go for whatever it is that this metaphor can be applied to, there are going to be all these stories that you may have told yourself before that determined how you operated in the world. And this is where phenomenography comes in, phenomenology, where I have my doctorate and my research is in how are we perceiving ourselves in relation to the world around us. The phenomenon of human perception of self in relation to the world determines everything. And so the stories that we are telling ourselves about God and its relation to us, and the world and its relation to us, and us in relation to the world mean a lot of things. And it determines what kind of efforts we put forth in the world, what kind of alignments we find in the world, what kind of manifestations and materializations that we create in the world. If you call yourself one of God's chosen, one of God's favorites, a special person, whatever, it's more likely that you will find ways to match up with realities that confirm that reality. That goes back to confirmation bias. And so the concept behind Apex Humanity, Apex Christianity, the Apex Human Awakening, the Golden Age, these are stories that we are telling ourselves about reality. And for me to tell this story to you guys, and for you guys to remember your purpose, or your vision, or your mission here on earth, it's not just some guy on YouTube pulling something out of his brain. There's evidence to support the idea of a golden age and the idea that the Bible is a technology that was left to us by that golden age people, or by those golden age peoples. Reality is shaped by the stories we tell ourselves about who we are in the world. And if your underlying story is that you're a winner, that all things work out for you, that you're capable, that nothing can stop you, that everything you desire is inevitably yours, imagine what kind of story would unfold from that. And imagine what kind of life would unfold from that. The world is full of losers because they are telling stories about themselves that keeps them in the loop of being a loser. Gummy worms tell a gummy worm story about reality and about themselves. They say they are victims of reality. That's why it's so easy to do a 9 to 5. People don't realize how easy it is to wake up every day and blame your boss for the fact that you're unhappy, and blame your spouse for the fact that you don't leave that job, and blame your kids for the reason that you are still doing something that destroys the divine spark within you. It's easy to do a 9 to 5. The challenge is in listening to that still small voice and taking that leap of faith. If you're already into the grind culture and the system, the real leap of faith is to do that before you have any concept of reality. It's probably very good to be one of those neurodivergent children that just has a dogged determination to win. Everybody tells you you're wrong, you're stupid, and then you say, well, everybody else is clearly irrelevant. And so they can call you stupid, they can tell you you're wrong, they can tell you you're taking the wrong path, and your little brain is just not perceiving it, and you just go forward and you win. A lot of people like that. There are enough people like that for it to be a story for me to tell you here on YouTube. But I want to encourage you to tell a different story about yourself to yourself. You never have to raise your voice or talk to other people about it because they are irrelevant. People are nothing. They really mean nothing. And I am learning that the older I get, the less people matter. The only people that matter are the people that matter to you. I can swear to you right now on my book that if 99.9999999% of human beings died today, right now, you wouldn't miss them. I guarantee you of that. You would just wonder, why did the world get so peaceful and quiet? Why? Because how many people do you actually know? Think about it. How many people do you actually know? Well, you have your friends and your family. That's probably, 100 people maybe. And then you have all the people that are connected to them that if they died, those people would be sad and they wouldn't back to you. So let's make that 500 people. And then there's all the celebrities that you know and care about. And that's like, let's put that up. Let's go crazy and say all together it's about 700 people. Everybody else on earth dies, disappears, turns into dust. You would not care. They could still pump news through the media for you. You could still hear the YouTube videos will still get uploaded. There's 80,000 years, I think, worth of YouTube videos getting uploaded every day, something stupid like that. You would never run. I mean, like, so why don't you start telling a story about your life that gives you better results? Obviously, it's not going to be an instantaneous overnight change. You're going to see significant shifts in your reality. I've seen it. I'm a living, walking, breathing testimony of this. I decided that this, I am done with a certain experience. I ended that experience and another experience showed up. Now, I've mastered this art and I've done it for 20, 30 years. I actually got a doctorate in human development and phenomenologist and phenomenographer. So I know how to shape human brains. I was certified in hypnotherapy for many years. And I was a master hypnotist for a long time as well. I'm a lot older than I look. But all that aside, I brought all that together because all of it was great. The training was great. NLP, master hypnotherapy, working with, multi-billion-dollar corporations and hundreds and thousands of people. This was all great. It was all fun. It was all wonderful. But it didn't matter to a hill of beans because the stories I was telling myself at those times was not a story of power and of divinity and of chosen status. I knew something in me was different. I could feel it. I could sense it. I could taste it. But I didn't really get to the point where I was speaking to it inside of myself. And so the most important book you will ever read in your entire life is this little book right here called the Holy Bible. And again, the narrative that I tell here on the Apex Human channel, Apex Christianity channel, is that this is a technology that's sent to us by Golden Age peoples. It's not magic. It's not, it is magical. It is enchanting. It is miraculous. It's all of that. But this is one of the most powerful technologies ever given to humanity because it tells the story of the self. And like a mirror, whatever you see in this book is a reflection of you. In this book, I see divinity, I see power, I see pleasure, I see purpose, I see prosperity, I see liberty and freedom. I see a direct link to God, the eternal source being of all things, my Father, the Most High. That's what I see in this beautiful compilation that my pagan ancestors and your pagan ancestors worked together to create. The Christians inherited it. They fucked it up a little bit. God bless them. Christianity is the best religion on earth, bar none. However, there's another way to read this. And there's evidence for it. The narrative I'm bringing to you has validation. It has evidence. And it's right here in Hey God, Wake the Fuck Up. Bible wisdom you're not supposed to know about real life from the real you. Make sure you get your copy. And if you don't believe me that look at this. There are about 40 something pages of works cited reference material in this from primary source documents that demonstrate that the perspective on God in the Bible is a golden age perspective left behind by a superior human race. If you want to change your narrative and thus change your life and create a life of beauty, of freedom, of flow, of enchantment, this is the life that Jesus was talking about. This is salvation, not dying and then going to an airy-fairy magical place in the sky somewhere that nobody's ever found existed or even seen ever, except for they were on drugs or their brain was lacking oxygen. But a real experience here in the physical world. I could tell you from all of my magical fantasy experiences that if you leave this body, there is no attachment to like there's no attachment to like, oh, I saw my grandmother, my grandfather. You know who says that? People who die and come back. People who die and never come back never say that. Think about it. Best book ever compiled by ancient, powerful, brilliant apex humans. Hello, those of you who have said something. Do you have a question? Yes, I do see you in the chat. I got to turn up the light though. All right. If you have a question, then wonderful. If not, I will move on to the next video. We're actually going to answer, will Satan be in hell or will he be in heaven? I can argue that he will be in heaven right next to Hitler and Mengele and Genghis Khan and all the rest of them. And who's that guy that blew up all those things? The Osama bin Laden, Obama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden. He's going to be right next to Obama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden. Christians believed it for 500 years. I mean, Osama bin Laden wasn't born yet, and neither was Hitler or any of those guys. But they believed that God was going to redeem Satan. For some reason, as a child, I remembered that. So God is eternally loving and eternally powerful, and God felt that, okay, maybe I gave Satan a bad rap. Let me fix it. You think God can't fix his own mistakes? If your God can't fix his mistakes, maybe you're worshiping Satan. Because you know Satan is the God of this world. I mean, according to Jesus, not according to me. I'm just repeating what Jesus said. So, you know, I'm down with Jesus. I love Jesus. He's my best friend. And I don't call him a liar. He's not a liar. So if he said Satan's the God of this world and most people worship him and they're of his and he's their father, then okay. If he told me I was a God, then I'm just gonna believe what Jesus said. Don't get mad at the messenger. Don't get mad at the messenger. Okay? I'm not even the messenger. Jesus was. I'm just repeating what he said. So look, you know, every time I open up this beautiful pagan compilation that will change humanity for the rest of eternity, the Christians shit themselves and they say, oh, no, 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 no. Don't show me Jesus' word. Isn't that your Lord and Savior? Yeah, but not really, but really, but not really, but really not really. Mainstream Christians got to get together, and I get it. Look, Christianity is seeing an uprising and an upsurge. Wonderful, great. I'm wondering if all these yellow belly, jelly belly gummy worms are going to do anything about it. Are you going to actually make this world a better place? Jelly belly, oh, my friend's reading the Bible, so let me go read the Bible and join the church. What value do you have? If you're calling yourself a Christian, you're not living the life. Useless. So anyway, Apex Christianity is for the masters, not the masses. Apex Christianity is for the manifestors, not the masticators. I was going to say something else. Those who actually bring things into reality, those who bring life into reality, into form. Those of us who tell a story about reality and tell a story about ourselves that matches what God has to say about us. God said, you are God's. God said, be perfect like I am. Well, why would God tell you to do something you can't do? Is God that cruel? No, he's not Satan, guys. If you think God is such an asshole, he's going to burn you in hell forever, then you're talking about Satan. Satan wants to do that, but he can't. He's not even going to be in hell that long. When it's all said and done, he's going to get redeemed. He's going to be in heaven, and it's not going to be any hell. At least that's what the Christians thought for 500 years. It was called the apokatastasis. Apokatastasis. I have to say it like an Italian. Apokatastasis. But yeah, it was a real thing. And some of the greatest church founders and leaders believed in it. So I'm going to close with this. What should I close with, Lord? Should I blow their minds with your word? I'm not blowing their minds. You are. Should I take it to the next level, Jesus? I'm not taking it to the next level. It's you that's doing it. I'm gonna keep keeping myself on track. But I am a son of the Most High God. One of the sons. All right, John 10:34 and 35. If you don't believe me, look at it in your Bible. Even in the trash translations like the NIV, you've got this verse. There are other verses, but you can look at it right here. Right here in God's holy word. Right here in God's holy Bible. Oh yeah, Jesus. Hey! Right there. Let me back it up a little far enough. And Muslim hell and Hindu hell, maybe they will go to hell forever. I don't know. Fuck them. All right. I'm joking. I love the Muslims. And by the way, you can be a Muslim and a Hindu and still be a Christian, because Christian is not what you call yourself. It's how you live. It's how you show up. It's how you are in the world. Christian is not what you say out your mouth. Jesus never said the word Christian ever in his life. He was a friggin' Jew in first century Judea. He spoke Aramaic and maybe understood a little bit of Greek and Latin. So if Jesus was a real physical person, he never even said the word Christian. So you can call you, I'm a Christian, I believe in Jesus Christ. Well, guess what? Do your actions show that? Are you able to live with liberty and freedom and power and joy and flow? Yes, no, yes, no. Okay, well, pick a side. At some point, you got to wake the fuck up. That's another plug. Hey, God, wake the fuck up. Bible wisdom, you're not supposed to know about real life and the real you. Look, I'm going to plug this book, y'all, until I'm selling 500 copies a day, so I don't give a shit what you guys think. Yes, I'm a Christian. I use profanity, but I will keep it to a certain level because I am trying to reach a larger audience. Jesus said, let's just read this here. John 10:34. Let's just read John 10:30. Jesus said, I and my Father are one. If you guys know what that word is echad. One. It means alone, only it. Alone, first, all. So Jesus is actually referring to the Atum, which the Cometians or the Egyptians referred to. It was the eternal oneness. The largest number in Cometian culture was the number one. All right. And so that was the largest number. Anything else was a diminution of that. It was a breakdown. So 100 was smaller than one according to the Egyptians, and that actually is more intelligent. These are people that put together the pyramids, guys. I think they knew math better than we did, or than we do. That's where Pythagoras got the Pythagorean theorem. He went to Egypt. He had to stay there for 20 years before those Negroes even let him know anything. It wasn't Negroes. It was really more Marian people. But anyway, I digress. But to him, the Greeks referred to the Egyptians as melandros, which means black-skinned. Anyway, so and Ethiops, which is burnt face. But anyway, I digress. So this is what Jesus said. Again, I'm gonna show y'all in the King James version of the Holy Bible. Jesus Christ. Welcome, cool kid. I said a couple of fucks and shit. Sorry. All right. This is it. All right. Okay. Look at John 10:34 and 35, red letter version of the King James version of the Bible. You can read it yourself. Screenshot that if you can't even read it. Maybe it's too close. Forgive me. Jesus answered and said to them, by the way, they were trying to kill him. They always trying to kill Jesus. They weren't always. It was like 3 or 4 times they tried to kill him. They eventually succeeded, unfortunately. But anyway, but not all the way, but kind of all the way, but not all the way. Okay, so Jesus answered them and said, John 10:34, is it not written in your law, I said ye are gods? That always surprised me. I asked my pastors about it. They ran like I had just pulled a gun out and pointed at their head or the butt. And then Jesus goes on and said, if he called them gods, unto whom the word of God came, and the scripture cannot be broken, say ye of him, whom the Father hath sanctified and sent into the world, thou blasphemest, because I said, I am the Son of God? He also said, I and my Father are one. If I do not the works of my Father, believe me not. Jesus is saying, look, if my works don't speak to my divinity, then I'm full of shit. All right? Don't even believe me. I'm BS and I'm bad science, bad spirituality. But if I do, though you believe me not, though you believe not me, believe the works, that ye may know and believe that the Father is in me and I in him. Jesus said, I and the Father are one. They were like, man, you better shut up because we're going to kill you. And then Jesus was like, well, the supreme law says you are gods. And the word there, the noun is theoi. It's plural. The gods. You are the gods. And then he said, and by the way, theoi is the Greek version of Elohim. And if you remember anything about Genesis, Elohim made Adam and Eve. It wasn't Yahweh. It was Elohim. So Yahweh breathed into them, I guess. I think you got to read the Genesis account. So anyway, Jesus said, look, you don't got to even believe me. Just look at my results. Look at what I'm doing. If what I'm doing matches the divine principles, the divine laws, it harmonizes with the flow of life, then forget about me. I'm not important. Look at what I did. And that's what a Christian is. A true Christian. And by the way, Christians have existed for hundreds of thousands of years. All that a Christian is the optimal apex aspect of the human. It is the human that tells a story about herself, about himself, about them, their selves, that matches the divine harmony, the highest principle. And I'm not into the rainbow flag stuff. I'm just saying that because to be pejorative. But it's a story, it's a human that tells a story about himself or herself that matches the highest outcomes. So when you see a guy that used to drive a hoopty driving a Ferrari 5 years later, well, okay, guess what? His works change something. God is the source of wealth, not Satan. He can't do that. Don't ever look at somebody, and I'm saying Ferrari, a trash car, okay? Let's say he's a broke loser for so long, and now he has a loving wife that really likes him and a healthy financial situation, and he's able to live freely. Or she was, morbidly obese and unloving herself, and then a couple years passed, she's worked out, and she looks amazing, and she loves herself, she's confident. That's a Christian. Guys, don't get it twisted. The church has taken God and put God in this tiny little black box, a satanic little box, a Mephistophelian box, where he's this sadistic, evil, butt pinching demon that floats in the ethers and tells you, oh, you're a sinner. Well, like Jesus died, right, to cleanse the sins of the world. He healed all that. He fixed all that. And then God's going to forget when you mess up? What's the whole point of salvation? What's the whole point of salvation from sin? It's not so you can be a good person and get into heaven, because heaven's irrelevant. Well, after this, we know nobody knows what's after this. I do. But you need to know that for you. I'm not going to tell you what's after this, because you may want to stay here. But I shouldn't have said that. Yes, I should have. The thing is, Christian is apex. It's the top of the mountain. It is the master, not the masses. It is the lifestyle that when people look at you, they say, I want that. I want that. And then when they ask you, well, how'd you do that? What'd you do? What'd you do? You say, well, okay, I believed in myself, and I didn't let the stories that I was telling about myself dominate who I was becoming. And then I became something else. And life had no choice but to follow through. Jesus said, you are the gods. You are God. Theoiesti in Greek. You're the Elohim. You're the forces that shape, control, and decide reality for you. Now, I'm not your God. You're not my God. The other person over there is not nobody else's God. Like, we are the divine being within our own reality. And Jesus made that extremely explicit over and over and over again. He constantly took attention from himself. He was like, don't look at me. I'm not the greatest. People said, oh, good master, and there's none good with God. Jesus said that. They said, oh, your works and your miracles so amazing. Jesus said, don't marvel at my works. In Mark 11, excuse me, John 14:12, and y'all don't believe me, I'm just going to pull it up. All highlighted. It's been highlighted for like 30 years. Right there. John 14. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. And I'm trying to read that little thing by Matt H. No offense, but how am I going to take humans' word at face value? You can never take a human seriously anymore. Well, humans are gummy worms, man. Matt, you know that. You're on the right path. Humans aren't anything, man. Humans are just gummy worm meat puppets. And again, there's not taking anything from people you love, the people support you and you care about. But like I said earlier in the thing, you might have missed it. If 99.99999 people died off the face of the earth today, you wouldn't miss them. I'm serious. Because all you got to think of all the people you personally know and all the people they know that matter to them, right? And then take all the celebrities you know. There's probably about 700 people all together, maybe 1,000. You kill everybody, not kill them, but like make them disappear into another dimension with magical unicorns and marshmallows. You wouldn't miss them. So don't put so much stake on humans. Humans are just what they are. I've seen so many humans. I've traveled so many places. I've lived so many places. And the only humans I think matter are children, because I think they're adorable and I think they still have the spirit of God in them. But once they get past, I don't know, a certain age, I feel like humans, I get you. Like, you can't take humans seriously. They don't really matter. But anyway, Jesus said in John 14, I'm going to shut up after this. Jesus said in John 14:12-14, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. Okay. So Jesus is already saying, look, you're gonna do better things than I did. All right. So don't be tripping out over the fact that I brought Lazarus from the dead and fed 5,000 people with a couple pieces of food. Tell a different story about yourself. Tell a different story about reality. And let God lead the way. The real God, the Most High. I always have to refer to the Most High because there is God. And when I say God, you might think Satan. A lot of people think that. They call him God and they call him Jesus Christ, but he's not. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna get in. I don't know if God's gonna let me together. God doesn't get. God's gonna let me into heaven. This is, you don't have any other choice. That's where you go after this. The question is, have you made this life worth it? Have you been an asset in this world? Make sure you get your copy of Hey God, Wake the Fuck Up. Change your narrative because this book will help you do that. And by the way, you don't even have to buy it. Just read a free copy online at the link provided in the description to this vehicle. All right, let's move on to our next evolutionary step as a species. And sorry, guys, this is a well-worn and read book. Uh, people love it so much that even my copies get read to the point of falling apart. All right. Thank you, those of you who stayed. Make sure you drop a like before I get it here. Stay Apex.